Let's talk about bats, baby. Let's talk about you and they. Let's talk about all the good things and the bad things that may be. Let's talk about bats. So this video is going to be talking all about bats, the fantastically specialised and curious creatures that fly around during the night. Now, contrary to popular culture, they are not vampires. They don't suck blood, usually. They aren't scaly or slimy. They are quite fluffy, actually. They look a bit like flying mice. They're not very closely related, but the Old English name was fluttermouse, which I think is really adorable. So bats are nocturnal mammals that fly around at night and eat insects, or mainly insects in this country. In other countries in tropical regions, they may eat fruit or flowers, but in this country they eat insects. The common pipistrelle, which is one of the most common species of bats in this country, can actually eat up to 3,000 insects in a single night. And the reason why they have to eat so many insect species is because actually flying around is really energy expensive. It takes a lot of energy to actually be able to do that. They've also got very highly developed lungs that allow for efficient oxygen exchange to be able to power them through their flight. But one of the most amazing things about bats is the way in which they hunt. They do this thing called echolocation, which the name kind of describes what it is. It's basically locating things in their environment by listening to the echoes. So what they do is they produce this really high-pitched ultrasonic sound, which goes from their mouth, or sometimes their nose as well actually, gets emitted, and it bounces off all the things in their environment, you know, every tree, every wall, every person, or the moths or the flies, and it echoes back to them. And from this echo, their brains can create a picture of their surrounding so that they can locate where the food sources are. So things like, as I say, flying insects, biting insects, moths, those are tend to be the foods. I think it's just mad, it's crazy. Can you imagine going outside and screaming and then listening for the echoes and being able to picture something? I think that's just insane and amazing. But also, what's quite cool, I think, is that we have these devices called bat detectors. And basically what it is a microphone and a speaker. And the microphone picks up the sonic calls that we can't hear and translates them into a noise that we can hear. So this is quite basic bat detector I have. That's the frequency dial. And you can turn it to different frequencies to be able to tell what bat species that you're listening to, as well as the way that the actual calls sound as well. So some of them kind of make a snapping noise, some of them make a more sharper noise, things like that. It's not the most accurate form of doing it. You can have bat detectors which translates the sound into a sonogram, which is like a graph, and from there you can analyse it properly and be able to see exactly what species it is. But for the point of me and you, the amateur bat watcher, this is perfectly good, and right now we're going to go and try to see if we can hear ourselves some bats. Right then, let's take a listen. I'm going to turn bat detector between 45 and 55 hertz, because that's... oh, there's the noise. Let me see if you can hear that. So what you're hearing right now are bats hunting. That's them echolocating and trying to find their prey. So I think these are pipistrelles, which is the most common species of bats in the UK. And the reason why I think that is because I've got the bat detector on 55 hertz, which tends to be the frequency that pipistrelles call at. I can also see the bats, and I'll try to put a clip in, and they're quite small. So I'm guessing they're pipistrelles. They might not be, there might be something else, but I think they're probably pips. Listen. You put it a little bit closer for you to listen to. Wow. You know, I've done this before, and I've done this loads of times before. It never gets old. It sounds a bit like... Let me put it closer to you so then hopefully you'll be able to hear it. It sounds a bit like, I think, wet slaps or maybe a marble dropping. And sometimes you can hear them make this sort of crunch noise, and that's them catching an insect. They're up there somewhere. Where are they? Oh, it's really hard to capture them with my phone camera. I think you can just about see them flying around somewhere above me. Oh, there's one. There's one. There it goes. So those are the bats that we've just been listening to. So what's really important about bats is not just the fact that they're amazing and, you know, just awesome little creatures, but also the fact that they are indicators of how good our ecosystems are doing. So because they are sort of quite high up the food chain, they feed on insects, which depend on plants, that if you've got bats around, it's an indicator that things are going healthy, basically, that there's lots of insect life, which means that there's good enough plant life to support the insects, and so on. So they're really good indicators. If you have a bat around, things should be doing reasonably well. So yeah, amazing little creatures. They also eat pest species, so, you know, things like biting insects, I suppose they're quite annoying, sometimes if they're biting you, but, you know, bats eat them and they sort them out. So if you do have a bat living in your house, then you should really be privileged. You should be really happy, or you should feel privileged, and you should be really happy about it, because they are amazing. Now, they are protected species, so if you do have one living in your house, you can't really disturb it, but you might want to contact your local council or an ecologist to give you some advice on that. So ways that you can help bats is by putting them in a bat box, or by having nature-friendly plants in the garden, which will attract insects, which will therefore attract bats. So this is my video all about bats. It's getting a little bit too dark for me to film. I don't even know if you can still see me on the camera. If you want to know more about bats, then I suggest you look at the Bat Conservation Trust website. It's got loads of cool facts there, loads of information about things you could do. You could join a local bat group to help conserve the wonderful species. Yeah, please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. And yeah, see you next time.